Okay, so as a heavy Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus user, I want to go ahead and share my take on the all-new M4 11-inch iPad Pro. Now, this is Apple's best and thinnest iPad ever, but there is one question that I'm struggling to answer here. Is this bad boy good enough to make me fully switch from the Tab S9 Plus? Let's dive in and find out. Alright, so let me share what my experience has been like using this tablet over the past 2 weeks. But before I jump into that, let's go ahead and first talk about what this thing is, what this device is. There's no question about the fact that the new iPad Pro is a beast from another galaxy, in terms of performance, of course. On top of that, it's a solid build, right? I mean, look at this thing. It's thinner, it's lighter, it's packed with new tech, but is this a game changer though? Why don't we go ahead and unbox it first? As you can see, the device itself sits at the top, as always. We all know that. And you have your 20-watt charger along with the manual, so nothing particularly new here or nothing that we haven't seen before. So let's go ahead and just move on to the actual iPad Pro. Right out of the box, the first thing you will notice is just how ridiculously light this iPad is. It weighs less than a pound. But honestly though, did we need the iPad to be this thin and this light? Probably not, but allow me to remind you that Samsung started this whole tablet weight loss competition thing, right? I mean, my Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra still feels unreal to me, just given how thin that thing is. But anyways, this new iPad feels, like I mentioned earlier, very, very thin. And you guys know I have large hands. It's so light and it feels really nice to carry around, right? The new iteration of the Pros, or the iPad Pros, comes in two sizes. The 11-inch, which is what I have here, and there's also a 13-inch variant. Both of those models do sport stunning OLED displays, but the larger one will cost you an extra $300 though, if you want to go ahead and go for that one. Both of them, of course, are boasting the new M4 chip, which I'm pretty sure you've heard about by now. And also, by the way, we now have the front-facing camera on the correct landscape side of the device here, which, as you would imagine, is great for video calls, right? So it's good to see that Apple is finally joining the bandwagon. But anyways, that's that. So I do want to talk about the new Apple accessories in just a moment. And in case you weren't aware, Apple did drop some new accessories with their new generation devices. And of course, in true Apple fashion, they made it only compatible with the new devices, right? I mean, what would you expect? It's Apple, Tim Cook still needs his millions. Did you think for a second that Apple would just let you use last year's accessories on this beautiful device? Come on, man, you better think again. But anyways, we're going to talk about those details in just a moment, but let's go back to this OLED display here. If you've been watching the channel for a while, then you probably know that I absolutely love Samsung OLED displays, but I don't know what Apple did this time around. I am truly impressed with the display, with the OLED display that they have on this new iPad Pro here. They're using a tandem OLED display here and it just looks incredible. So far, in my experience, watching movies, playing games, browsing the internet, it's been excellent. It's been very, very good. Things are super vibrant and really do pop. Very colorful. In fact, there are instances in which things pop more on this device versus my Tab S9, right? I mean, obviously, in some instances, some things pop more on the Tab S9 versus this device. But anyways, it's just that good. That being said, for everyday use, like, browsing the internet, going on YouTube, reading, and things like that, the display on your current iPad, if you currently own an iPad Pro, any of the M series or the M chip series or any of the iPad Pros carrying an M chip, you'll be just fine. Your display is pretty solid right now. You should just go ahead and stick with it. But anyway, so far, my experience has been really good with this as far as just that display when it comes down to just consuming media or consuming different types of content. So that's the reason I had to bring up that display upgrade on here, right? And on top of that, of course, you do have that M4 chip loaded here, which in my humble opinion is useless to have the M4 chip in this device here. You know, imagine driving a high performance Ferrari in the middle of a bumper to bumper traffic. Anyway, so when it comes to that M4 chip, the magic of it actually lies in its high performance scenarios, right? The device is super snappy. It's been very snappy with everything that I've used it for, right? Web browsing, reading, navigating the internet, I don't know, watching movies, watching videos on YouTube and things like that. It's all super buttery smooth. And you might be thinking the M1 iPad Pro can do all of that, and you would be right. The M1 iPad Pro is a powerful device that can do pretty much the same stuff this thing is doing, you know, for the average consumer, of course. There is a small niche of people that can tap a little bit more into the power that, you know, this thing has to offer. But with that said, what is it about the M4 iPad Pro that stands out to the average consumer, right? What is it about it that should that should prompt the average consumer to go ahead and pick up one? Well, nothing, because again, as I mentioned, having an M4 chip here is a useless move unless, of course, Apple is planning on doing something with it, right? We have WWDC 24 coming up, I believe, in another 10-12 days as of the shooting of this video. So my hope is that they come up with something that we can finally use those powerful chipset to do. Otherwise, this is just a big iPhone. I'm being facetious, of course, but you do know what I mean by that. Anyway, so if you are a heavy gamer who happens to be into super heavy games, you know, with those that actually include ray tracing and things like that, if you happen to be part of that niche of people, then obviously you can tap into a bit more of the power that is being offered by the M4 chip that is loaded here. With that being said though, how does the new iPad Pro here fare against the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Plus here, which has been my daily driver, the one that I've been using every day? How does it compare to this tablet? Well, you know, these are two very different tablets, and the way I use my tablets, I could not possibly survive with just the iPad Pro. I do a lot of multitasking for me to be a straight iPad Pro user. I'm always going to rely on the flexibility that is offered by the, you know, Tab S9 Plus here, or even the regular Tab S9, right? The ability to multitask and using Samsung Dex and things like that, which is a system that the iPad Pro is not able to handle because of how limited iPad OS is when it comes down to that level of flexibility. If you were to ask me which one I would go for, without hesitating, I'll simply tell you that I would just go for the Tab S9 Plus. Now, in my specific situation with the channel, and because I just love tech in general, I have devices from both ecosystems. And again, I'm super impressed by what I see here. But anyways, along with some of those, you know, upgrades that we've seen on the new iPad Pro here, there are also accessory upgrades, right? We do have the new Magic Keyboard, which is pretty cool. I like it. I like the old one as well. And again, in true Apple fashion, this is not compatible with my iPad Pro from last year or from the year before, unfortunately, right? So this only works with this new iPad Pro. Same with the Apple Pencil Pro. Now with the new pen, I like it. Now, typically I'm not a big fan of Apple Pencils because of that plastic. When it taps on that, you know, on that display, the noise that it makes, it truly annoys the crap out of me. But I like this pen. I like this new pencil here, the Pro. It has a lot of, I'm gonna call them nifty little features, right? Like the barrel roll, for example. That's a nice one that you can use for, you know, as a tool for orientation. You know, the haptic feedback is also pretty nice on here. The Magic Keyboard, as I mentioned, although not compatible with the old one, with the old device, it's still a pretty nice or a pretty serious upgrade, right? It does have that function row, right? You have function row, the hinge flap, check. The aluminum palm rest, that's another check. You know, it's a much better overall user experience with this. And I went for the white one here, and it tends to get dirty. So if you wanted to pick up one of these, make sure that you keep that in mind. Now, if you were thinking about which size to get, you know, here's what you need to know. The 11-inch is going to be cheaper and more portable, so it's nice for traveling and things like that. The 13-inch, as I mentioned earlier, is pretty big, but it does offer a larger screen real estate. Anyways, so whether you are looking for something to watch videos, navigate the internet, and things like that, If you are desperate for an upgrade, then, I would say maybe go ahead and consider this. But otherwise, it's just like any of the previous years, right? They just make them more powerful and more powerful, but you really can't do anything with that power, right? I'm not necessarily making a big switch to this. I'm just going to be using both tablets. And so far, I like what I see. I'm certainly hoping that this is informative. Let me know with any questions or things that you would like for me to go ahead and test out on this iPad. Let me know in the comment section. I'm going to catch you in that comment section like I always do. Make sure to like the video, of course. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Share this video if you know anyone who'll be interested, of course. I'm going to catch you in the comment section like I always do. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, as always, stay safe out there.